Actually, I had this whole plan for how to start rolling this podcast. Of how to surprise the audience. But then I realized people already have to click your name to opt into listening to this.
That's true.
And no one listens to this by accident.
That's true.
Like the radio.
You tell me when we start, by the way.
We're rolling.
Oh, we're rolling.
We're rolling.
Oh my God, this is it.
This is it.
I'm so excited to be here. Seriously, this is an honor. I have to say, we met like 5 years ago in the pandemic when I was finishing college over Zoom and just beginning putting content out. And we had connected. I had found your early stuff.
I appreciate the compliment, but actually I found your early stuff. I was a fan first.
I think I was a fan first.
I was a fan first, Matt. Actually, my colleagues at work when I was working at Apple would all share your incredible Tim Cook impression. And that's why I know I was a fan first.
Well, thank you so much on behalf of Apple and Tim Cook. We really wish you were still at the company, but we love your content. A la Poubelle. Sorry, that was a little Tim Cook detour.
It's perfect. It's so good. And also one of my best and closest friends who plays the character of Alfred in my old content.
Yeah.
For those who used to watch the old stuff more, is a diehard fan of yours.
Oh my God.
Fan of yours. Shout out to Alfred as well.
Thank you, Alfred. Yeah.
Around the world with your host, the Gstaad Guy. We welcome you back to the Gstaad Guy podcast, sharing stories of excellence with those in the know for those who just know.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for being here. I'm very excited.
So happy to be with you. And you're very tall, too, which people don't realize. We're both pretty tall. You are taller.
Barely.
Which feels like it's painful.
We have this tall bond. I've spoken about this before.
We do.
With Will Welsh.
Yes, Will Welch, another tall person, yes.
As a tall person. So it's cool to sit here with a fellow tall man.
And I also love the kind of contrast in our voices. I mean, you have a very spa-like, meditative, regular voice. I'm kind of a booming American broadcaster. Well, this will be a fun contrast here.
I appreciate the spa. I'll take it as a compliment. I've never had that before.
It is.
But you can play any accent. You can do it all. I've heard over 200.
Yeah, no, my thing is on the internet throughout the past few years has been impressions, and now I'm working on my stand-up, and I'm excited for people to see that element of me in my career. But the impressions and the voices and the characters, they've gotten me started to where I am today.
I love it. I've always been a big fan of impressions and voices. I think they're a great icebreaker.
Absolutely.
As well?
Yes.
Has that always been the case for you?
For sure. Like, since I was 4 years old, I was doing impressions. I watched the movie Austin Powers, and that's the movie that got me obsessed and hooked on comedy. I was just mimicking Fat Bastard and Goldmember and Dr. Evil. And then I grew up with YouTube, and I'm a product of my generation, so I was just devouring old clips of old American late-night comedians, Johnny Carson, Don Rickles, Richard Pryor, George Carlin. I loved Ed Sullivan. You know, for your audience, if it's a lot of European people too listening, like the great American era of show business, the 60s, 70s, Johnny Carson, like glitz, glamour. And that's also why I really love your stuff as well, because it reminds me of a bygone era. And I think I have certain elements of that as well.
You do.
So I I don't know how, I really just took this question and I'm morphing it into 10 answers.
No, please. That's why we're here. That's why we're here.
I just started doing these impressions as a kid. And then my sister actually called me a glorified parrot. So I think I'm just basically repeating everything around me all the time.
A very talented glorified parrot. I like that. So may I, during the course of this podcast, I know people who are comedians don't like people to just be like, hey, tell me a joke.
Yeah.
Or do a magic trick if you're a magician. But can I ask you to do some impressions that you bring up? Is that okay?
100%.
Is that appropriate?
That's like asking if you're going to wear Loro. I mean, some things are a yes. I mean, by the way, before we get into it, I know you have your Loro fans and the team will check in, but is there a Loro condom and would you wear one?
First answer, no.
Okay.
First answer, no.
Because you want that
whatever one
smooth feeling all the time.
That's true.
Right.
But Loro piano, for those who know, is very, very breathable. It keeps you warm when you want to be warm.
Why I asked.
You don't want the condom to be breathable, Matt.
I think you might. That would be finish like the 1%. Sorry, go ahead. continue. Let's see if he keeps that in. If you know what I mean. Sorry. Okay.
Speaking of nice things in Loro, I need to acknowledge that we are here at Casa Cipriani.
Yes, we are.
Which is somewhere somewhere you frequent.
Yes. No, I love it here. And I actually, early on, I started doing comedy shows. There's a beautiful jazz room in this venue.
Yep.
And we've done some comedy shows for members of the club. And that was a few years ago. And I've done actually pretty recently, we've done them as well. And it's been great fun doing them here.
I love it.
I love it here too.
And I'm sure you adapt to the audience depending on where you
Absolutely.
are. The audience here is likely Gstaad Guy world.
Yes, no, that's the key in comedy. You know, for me, in terms of my comedy, it's not really, it's no longer a niche audience. I mean, I'm playing to a wide variety of people. I mean, I hosted award shows, I'm on red carpets, I'm touring the country, so you really have to adapt. One day you might be in a casino in the middle of the country, and one day you might be talking to a group of 200 billionaire business CEOs. So you have to kind of find a commonality and a through line between all these different types of people. But back to your other question.
Austin Powers.
Wasn't it impressions you were asking me to do, maybe?
I would just love to just warm up the audience.
Listen, let me just say this. We're going to warm up the people very well. I have to say that the Gstaad Guy is a pig. Okay, you are a nasty pig. You know, honestly, I like a lot of different types of content. I really do. And I've been looking at a lot of, you talk about a la Poubelle. You know Poubelle? You know Poubelle? I know Poubelle very well, actually. Poubelle is a friend of mine. I know this guy. He's a sick guy, but he's a friend of mine. And I love the Gstaad Guy because Gstaad is a great place. You want to be rich? You got to talk to the Gstaad Guy. I love a rich guy. And that's what you have to do because there's a lot of people coming into this country that come from other countries. Gstaad is not a whole country. That's a beautiful country. They're a whole country, Gstaad. We got to take a look at that. But, you know, it's a big problem because you talk about Cipriani, you talk about Carbone. These are the battles we talk about. You talk about Brunello Cucinelli. Oh, Brunello Cucinelli. What a tough guy. Salamea. You know about Salamea? So that's a great thing. But we're going to talk about that. And, you know, you talk about the Caruso, which is another place, or the Hotel Russi. These are bougie places. The Aman's another spot, too, I would say. We love the Aman. That's a great spot. But I would say Baron loves your show, and I love it, too. And thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Sorry, I don't know
Thank
what
you,
happened.
Mr. President.
When I do him, I get lost.
Become
Well, what happens is you just say things endlessly.
He's
And I
saying
figured
the-
I would say things that would really...
You know, you talk about AP versus Vacheron, the Holy Trinity. Oh, there's a Holy Trinity. You know, the Vacheron, the Audemars Piguet. Audemars Piguet, that's a great thing.
the mannerism.
Yeah, I'm
I hope
Yeah, thank you.
we have more viewers than listeners today.
I
because
hope
the
so.
mannerism.
How did it sound?
It sounded incredible, and even better looking at what you're
Thank
doing
you.
with your hands.
Well, it is a word association weird. The key to a Trump impression is you just have to mispronounce big words whenever you're talking.
I love your riffing. I will remind you, the show is the Gstaad Guy podcast.
Yes.
Gstaad is in Switzerland.
Yes.
Roger Federer.
Yeah. Well, hello everybody. First of all, I have to say that you know, being with the Gstaad Guy, it's extra special for me, given the relation to Switzerland and you know, American the kids are currently actually in Gstaad. Right now, we just finished up the Labour Cup. I'm just happy really for all of your success. I love this show, really, Poubelle. It's great. And you know, Rafa and Novak and I, we loved watching the show. And just a big fan. I think what you're doing is very special. And Rafa would agree. Well, for me, no, it's very, very tough for me not to be watching the Gstaad Guy podcast. Very, very funny for me not to. When I'm at the boat in Mallorca, I love to watch the Gstaad Guy. Make me laugh a lot. Very hard for me not to. Well, to be competing at the highest level, of course, you have to be laughing. And Novak. Yes, well, for me to be sitting here with Gstaad Guy, it's extra special for me. I have to be breathing, relaxing. I'm the new face of the Aman, and I have to be like a crocodile and relaxed. And the Gstaad Guy clips put me in an unvaccinated good mood. Okay, thank you. Speaking of unvaccinated, this is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. don't take Tylenol, take Neosporin. Neosporin causes socialism. Sorry, I'm sorry. That's it. Let's move on. I think, your audience is going to say he was too much. He didn't let you ask any questions. I apologize.
No. My audience.
This is a business podcast, and figured Bill Gates would love to speak to the Gstaad Guy. Bill is a really interesting subject because Bill sounds like Kermit the Frog. So, Melinda, when we were married, we were binging all of your clips. And why are there so many people who don't watch Gstaad Guy?
Sorry. That's it. Okay, let's be me now. Here we go.
I love accents. I love impersonations. My sister and I, growing up, always used them in tough moments as a way to be unserious, I think.
Yes.
Was that something you did growing up?
I didn't do them as a way to cope with anything necessarily, but I think it was a way to, I like you just said, it's an icebreaker. It's a way to just have a fun time, make people laugh. And then ultimately I realized that it's a marketable skill, but, and I think everybody enjoys it.
No, definitely. I think everyone listening is enjoying it.
Oh, thank you.
A lot.
I just have to say, whenever I go to a new show or environment, I want to make sure that I do a great job. I love you and I love your audience. And so I hope they're having a good time listening to it, because I think what you have built is very special and will continue to be very special.
I appreciate that.
So I'm just excited to be a part of it.
Likewise to you. I really admire how you managed to go from these fun skits on Instagram to being on these red carpets, to being at the US Open, to being on SNL, to going down the traditional media route. I think the inverse is typically true of traditional media people starting a social media presence. Going from social media to this world is the desire of most in our shared media, but it's a really tough thing to do. So congrats.
Thank you.
It's amazing. Were you a drama kid growing up in school?
I did a few plays in high school, but not really. I had a very normal upbringing from Chicago. I grew up doing student government and Model UN and tennis and a lot of extracurricular activities. But I was in Chicago and I grew up near Second City, which is this legendary improv and sketch school and institution where a lot of great, prolific American and Canadian and comedy writers and performers started. Tina Fey, Stephen Colbert, people like that, Steve Carell, I think Amy Poehler. But so Chicago's a great comedy town, but then I went to school in New York at NYU, and that is the time where I really started to jump into comedy, and I became obsessed with it. I was doing open mics and figuring out ways to get on stage, and then suddenly I was gaining momentum pretty quickly through the comedy clubs, and I was performing on the same show as Jerry Seinfeld, when I was 19, 20, still in college. And then over the pandemic, I graduated in 2020, and around that time is when I started to post on social media. And then taking advantage of these tools, TikTok, Instagram, that's what enabled me to get discovered. So COVID 2020, posted Instagram, TikTok, and then again, all these shows started to have me on, Kimmel, The Today Show, and then just started to get discovered. And I was able to start touring, and I did my first hour of stand-up. And then last year was a big year in 2024, just of a series of big events happening, White House Correspondents' Dinner and Emmys and all these big moments. And now it's just all continuing to build.
Having the protection and the safety net of the phone and creating content on your phone alone at home is one thing, but then going in front of a crowd and doing stand-up is a whole different beast.
Have you performed in front of a crowd?
I have not, and I actually don't intend on it.
Yeah. It's not for everybody. It's a completely different thing.
Yeah.
It's a different skill set. It's wild. It is a wild thing. I mean, I've always been the kid who wanted to make people laugh.
Yeah.
But what you just said is very smart and I think relevant in our emerging or kind of redefined entertainment business where people are still trying to kind of figure out who they are or what they're trying to do, and understanding that difference is a key thing. Like, to make a video in front of your ring light in your room is one thing, but to go up at a theater or some comedy club in the middle of the country and start to make a stranger laugh is a whole other ballgame. And then I'm doing an hour of stand-up now and getting ready to tape my first special. So that's been a wild thing.
And you didn't have any crowd experience prior to social media?
No, I was doing stand-up in college.
Fine.
So I was getting up all the time when I was at NYU and doing stand-up and going to open mics and what's called a bringer show, meaning you have to bring 8 to 10 people just to get on stage.
Okay.
And then I was doing improv a little bit and some sketch, but I was definitely getting on stage when I was at NYU. And then over the pandemic, the social media discoverability allowed me to build an audience so they could come and see me. And now I'm touring, and it's been really exciting.
I'm very curious about this world because I'm so far from it. But when you walk onto the stage, do you know what you're going to say? Do you have a script?
Yeah, no, I mean, right now I have like a 60, 75-minute show that I've written and that I'm performing. I was in London, actually, at Leicester Square Theatre. That was very fun last year. But I just did the Wilbur Theatre, my biggest headlining show in Boston. And so now I'm touring it right now to get it in shape to tape as like a finished hour.
Okay.
But yes, I mean, I have these stories and topical observations, political observations on American, but also global political commentary.
Yeah.
And some characters, a lot of impressions, and stuff on like me dating in my 20s and like, you know, the human element, just what are things that I find funny. And then there is, of course, the riffing crowd work moments. Yeah. I do this thing at the end of my show where I'm like, I ask the audience to just yell questions at me and I just see what happens. And you have to think on your feet and be a really smart, strong improviser, or stupid improviser if you're me. But and yeah, so of course there's a lot of like scripted out, pre-written, of course, material. And then there are some comedians that just go up there and they're like, "What do you do? Oh, you're in finance? Oh my God, you know, you must know Sam Bankman-Fried," like something like that.
Fine.
But I think it's very valuable. You have to have material. The audience is coming to pay to see you actually do something.
Have you always wanted to go down this on-stage live audience route, and the social media was a bridge to that, or was the social media a product of its own you intended to create?
You know, it's interesting because the pandemic affected my life, your life, but the entertainment industry and touring so specifically, there are acts, there are musicians, there are comedians that you maybe would have eventually heard of.
Yeah.
But social media accelerated it so quickly. I think the social media, it all goes together. I always wanted to be performing, like, you know, headlining big venues. My dream, the ultimate goal, like, is to host the Oscars. Like, I want to be my generation's version of Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Fallon, doing that. And I think you can't do that unless you're not a seasoned performer. These are guys that are getting up in front of audiences every day and know how to handle, you know, someone saying something in a corner or just different things that happen. So this kind of seasoning helps. But yes, I always wanted to be performing and now acting, but the social media has accelerated it all. I'm very happy that it exists.
And in terms of the impressions on social media,
yes,
biggest successes based on what I've noticed, number one is Donald Trump.
Yeah, the political stuff has taken off. I mean, it starts with the Trump because he's the main character of the world right now.
Yeah.
But in America, I mean, I didn't bring the glasses, but I'll do the Kentucky Senator Mitch McConnell, which might be a little obscure for certain members of the Gstaad world, but Google after the show ends, Mitch McConnell freezing. Look at my chins as they jiggle off my face. It's a real thrill to be here with the Gstaad Guy. My wife is Asian, and I find you wildly attractive. You have to say something very weirdly racist when you're doing him. He does have an Asian wife. I don't know why he thought to mention it. It wasn't. That's the thing. It's not.
He actually said that.
Person saying. Say it again.
He actually did say that. Once.
Did he say that?
I'm asking you.
I'm not sure. Yeah, he did say. He did say something like, "America is a country for Americans and African Americans." Something like that. I'm like, that African Americans are just Americans. They're black people. I'm not sure what's happening here. But again, I'm just repeating things people say.
You have the Kentucky Senator Ted Cruz right here. He's got a nasal voice. Gstaad Guy is the #1 podcast you got to listen to. I love me some Loro Piana. I really do. But I love Xenia as well.
See, I'm just trying to make it very specific for you. There's the Bernie Sanders right here. Gstaad Guy is literally a podcast for the top 10th of 1%. We should globalize the audience. Take the damn subway. So I do a lot of political impressions. Yes, that is true. But in terms of other impressions that have taken off, a lot of actors.
Yes.
I've been doing this thing at the Golden Globes on the red carpet for the past 3 years. I'm not like in Mario Lopez, like an interviewer necessarily, but they've had me as a comedian placed on the carpet.
I've seen a lot of really good stuff.
And it's just gone crazy. And like, I do interviews, and I had this big moment with Jamie Foxx last year, but I've done Jeff Goldblum next to Jeff Goldblum, JFFGOLDBOUM, Gstaad Guy, of course. Well, Laura Jeans, very smooth. Yes. I do him. I was doing the cast of Succession, Nick Cage.
You've done Austin Butler better than
Yeah,
Austin
that was
Butler.
very fun too. I love doing Austin Butler. He's got a deep thing going on. He still sounds
like Elvis. I'm like, dude, you're from Anaheim, California. If I can dream of a better land where all the Gstaad guys go hand in hand, tell me why on a Poubelle. I'm sorry. But the political stuff is the most fun thing for me because that's a lot of like my show. I mean, I have a lot of observations on events happening in the political space in America. And, a lot of my inspirations are talk show hosts as well that I happen to do an impression of, too. Bill Maher, John Oliver, people like Howard Stern. And that's the world that I want to be in.
So that being said, would you say that the comedy is the language for you to get a message across, or is it the final product? Are you trying to get laughter? Are you trying to get a change in perspective, or a bit
That's
of both?
interesting. I'm not necessarily trying to alter people's minds or beliefs. I actually remind people, in terms of an impression, I'm actually just repeating things people have said. And I just want to make people laugh and have a good time, because my thinking is we are in such a divided country and world right now where people are only playing to their audience. And there is liberal comedians, there's conservative comedians, and they're just in their echo chamber. And they might say that it's hacky to kind of both sides things. I'm not trying to both sides things. I'm just trying to get as wide of an audience as possible. If you voted for Trump, if you voted for Kamala, who voted for Kamala? Nobody, I would say. But if you voted for Kamala, I want you all to come to my show, because I just want everybody to see that we can all have a good time and laugh. I really
Absolutely. One of the comedians that I love as a
moving around a lot. You are very still. I like this.
I'm comfortable.
You're comfortable, yeah.
I'm comfortable.
You're letting it all hang out, Gstaad Guy. You're letting it all hang out, yeah.
I'm a big fan of Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yes.
As a consumer, but also
yes,
I really admire his way of being like basically a big flashlight, right? He doesn't necessarily, I think he's very good at revealing truth through comedy. I think that's what he does. I know what I mean by the big flashlight. And I see you doing a lot of that too.
Thank you.
That flashlight.
Well, I really appreciate it. That's such a cool comparison, because he's like one of my idols. I actually just sat behind him on a plane.
Oh wow!
And then I get to my hotel, and then the next morning I'm walking in the hallway. Then he's walking down the hallway. So we were staying on the same floor.
No way.
It was during the Oscars week, and then I saw him at a party for our agency.
Did you say hi?
Yeah, of course. And he was great. I name drop. But no, I think it's probably a product of what I'm doing. The nature of what I'm doing, it probably does shine a light in some way on how people come across.
And what do you think the power of humor and comedy really is at creating connections with people, but also getting a message across?
I think it's essential. If I'm with somebody at a dinner and they're not able to take a joke or laugh, I'm immediately turned off by that person. I don't want to spend time with that person or really see them ever again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be around you if you're not like,
If you can't laugh at my jokes,
if you don't laugh at my jokes, get out of my face. No, but like it's more of a vibe thing. It's not really just me. It's just like, is the person able to like smile and have a good time?
Yeah.
And I do think that humor is kind of like it's a universal language.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you obviously in the context of comedy, like I could do a set or a joke in English, but you know, someone could translate it and then someone would potentially laugh depending on the customs of their country, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But I most likely they would probably laugh at the same thing. There are some basic things that everybody finds funny: a fart joke, a yo mama joke, you know, like something like that. It's a universal thing, and I think it's very important, especially in our time today.
I think so too.
I do think there's an element of poking truth to power.
Mm-hmm.
I performed at the White House Correspondents' Dinner last year. It was me and Colin Jost from SNL, and I got up in the middle of the room. Biden was 40 feet away from me, I'm not sure he was alive, but I think he might have been. I think he was living. And I just started to roast the room and him. Like, I'm roasting the most powerful person in the world.
Yeah.
And it was a surreal experience, but that's a great American tradition and custom that the president of the United States sits next to a comedian, with the exception of the current president, because he doesn't do it. But every other president is able to take a joke and laugh, and for the greater community of the country. And I think that is a really important thing that we should never lose.
And I think the ability to laugh at oneself is also a great part of that.
Absolutely, it is.
You know,
100%.
I
That's why your content is so important.
I appreciate
Because I think you're playing to an audience that, let's face it, a lot of the people that are in the audience that you have might not, you know, be willing to laugh at themselves. So that's why I think it's so important that you're doing this work, and people love it. People absolutely love it, because especially with wealthier people, it can be a little bit more uptight, like in my experience from a live performance standpoint. But I love the challenge, and I think it's really fun, like, you know, figuring out jokes for all audiences, but specifically audiences that might not expect to be able to laugh at themselves.
I hope they laugh at themselves a bit. I think
Yeah.
that implies some level of self-awareness that the people of the Gstaad Guy world sometimes lack,
Absolutely.
or often lack. So I hope it happens more often than not.
And you do such a great job of it to
Very kind of you.
thread the needle so well.
Thank you. Something I love about our generation as well, and us as in some ways voices of like the tone of voice of our generation, is the fact that it's so unserious. If I look back at comedy over the years, it absolutely had a similar tone of voice when you think of comedians and think of storytellers, from Peter Sellers to Sacha Baron Cohen to
Peter Sellers.
I'm a big fan of Peter Sellers.
Wow.
Yeah, I love
What?
I love
This
classic
is
Tim
so-
Panther.
That's amazing. Okay.
Yeah,
I
because
didn't think
I
that
love
would
like
be the
grimace
first
comedy.
question.
Really,
I'm a big fan of Peter
I'm
Sellers.
a big fan of Peter Sellers.
Do you say that when you get, like, because you're a 6'7" hunk of European meat? When you're on a date with some Raya match, do you say, you know, you take your AP off and you say, "Are you a big fan of Peter Sellers?"
I'm not on Raya.
That's what gets you laid. Peter Sellers references. I know that's what gets you laid.
I love Peter Sellers. I also love. Have you heard of Louis de Funès?
Louis de Funès?
French.
I'm not sure that I have. Who is this?
It's a French
Is this going to make
comedian.
me look stupid?
No, not at all.
Okay.
It's kind of like grimace humor. So
I have heard.
a lot of facial expressions, a lot of mannerism.
Okay.
It's very
Interesting.
70s, 80s humor.
Okay.
Maybe even prior, maybe even 60s.
Okay.
But it's something that was very popular back then. I
Mhm.
think should be more popular now. And I think you and I, of course, part of our careers is we do those similar things. But something that has changed is that the general population, I find, has become a lot more unserious, especially our generation. And you just look at TikTok, like people will talk about serious things with a lot of humor, with a lot of self-deprecation. And I love that about our time, the unseriousness. Do you use comedy off camera, off stage as well, as this sort of social lubricant?
Always. Yeah. I mean, I'm not always on. Like, that's actually a theme in my stand-up hour, which is like, you don't want to always be like this dancing monkey, constantly going. But Don Rickles, great, legendary comedian, famed insult comedian. Do you know Don?
I don't.
You would be upset. Oh, you knew Louis Douja? I'm kidding. I mean,
Louis Douja. Louis de Funès is not a comedian. He's actually like an actor,
okay, basically.
but also a producer.
But Don Rickles, you will die. You will literally die from this guy. But you need to check him out.
Can I tell you my all-time favorites?
Yes.
Just so you can box me into a category of comedy. Stand-up number one for me is Ricky Gervais.
Of course. I don't care. Okay.
He's just
Obsessed. Yeah, of
my
course.
number one for me. On TV and film, Sacha Baron Cohen, Rowan Atkinson.
Great.
I love Johnny English.
Mm-hmm.
I think Johnny English is actually... I think Gstaad Guy is in many ways inspired by Johnny English.
I thought you were going to say Bill Cosby.
I don't actually know much about Bill Cosby.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, don't take a drink. That's all I'll say. Your audience will probably get the
Okay,
reference.
fine. Johnny English to me is like this very serious, this goofball trying to be serious.
Yes.
Right?
Great. No, I love that summary of someone, goofball trying to be serious. That's in some ways what I am. I mean, I'm definitely very serious at times. I mean, a lot of the time, I would say. But I am a goofball as well. I'm sure you are too.
Yeah.
But to answer your question before, yes. I mean, in my business all comes through my comedy and my personality and like my emerging, whatever you want to call it, celebrity brand. So yes, I mean, whether it's down to the clothes that I'm wearing or, the events that I'm at, or again, different business dealings. I think that's I think that is the value that I bring. Like, so much of business that I've been finding is like, do people want to hang around you?
Yeah.
Obviously you have to contribute something, and I can't just be, not just, unless you're like Ashton Kutcher level or Ryan Reynolds level, like just lending your name to a brand or something. But I think a lot of this is connections and relationship building, and not like from a purely transactional standpoint. I'm not just, you don't want to seem like you're using people or being used for a business context, but no matter what I'm doing in a business context, like, yes, I'm there to like make fun of everything.
Yeah.
I think that's why the things that I'm doing in my business life are happening, because I'm literally like a jester. I'm like the court jester.
I think you're being self-deprecating, but I appreciate that.
Thank you.
This podcast is brought to you by Poubelle, bringing you interchangeable charm jewelry hand-painted with enamel on sterling silver, allowing you to celebrate all the things you love and all the things you might question through interchangeable sterling silver bracelets, bangles, whoop, charms, mini charm, bracelets, rings, cufflinks, and much more. And all customizable through our 3D builder on Poubelle.com. That is Poubelle, Poubel.com. Thank you so much for watching, and now back to the podcast.
First and foremost, the first thing you do when you go into these big rooms, based on what you're saying, is to observe, right? So you have observed the people of the Gstaad Guy world. You went to NYU, you perform at Casa Cipriani, you're around all these politicians and people of power. What are some things you've observed in the world of the Gstaad Guy and the Gstaad Guy audience that you can tell us about?
Well, wealthy people do love to be reminded in front of their friends how rich they are.
I agree with that. That's
the number one thing. Like, when I do a private corporate event, I'm making up a name. Oh, Len Berman is here. Len Berman. Like I'll make fun of how rich that person is. Yeah. Or like, I remember I did a guy's birthday once as like billionaire in Upper West Side. And I go to his, it was a restaurant uptown. It was like 50 of his closest friends. And then they had like a mariachi band and like all these different people. And then they have me come out. It's like so ridiculous. And actually, I come out there and I say, I'm robbing you right now, right? This is a heist. I'm going to talk for the next 15 minutes. My check is cleared and then I'm leaving. Did your wife tell you how much I'm being paid for this?
Was it extortionate?
No, he was dying.
Or-
They were all just dying laughing at how ridiculous the whole thing is. But I don't even know if I'm really answering this question.
You are. No, it's very good. It's very good.
Bottom line is, if you're watching this podcast and you have a private party, please email my team and book me, and let's have some fun. Because Gstaad Guy wants to buy me an AP.
It's true. I'd love to. I'd love to be.
I have to ask you about that, by the way. I'm so obsessed with it. I love how you have not marketed, but I don't mean to take over your show, by the way. I hope, is this going well so far?
It's going great.
I hope it is.
I love this casual conversation.
Well, because I want to be, answering these questions well, but I also don't want to be too clowny.
You're not too clowny.
That's how.
And you are answering the questions well.
Good. So
I think just people love a casual conversation.
I hope so. Thank you. I love how you say conversation. You say conversation, like with a Z. It's
Conversation.
very Euro.
Really?
I love it. One thing that I really admire about you is the way that you have built this brand for yourself, but tapped into brands that you care about.
I appreciate that.
With Loro, with AP. I'm curious about the origin, because I'm sure a lot of your, whatever you can reveal, I'm sure a lot of your fans would be curious, how that all.
I appreciate it.
Or we don't talk about.
No, we can, of course. I appreciate your question. Gstaad Guy, as you know, is based off a real life archetype of people who typically have achieved lots of success, or they're related to people who have, and they like really nice things. And I also like those nice things, although I have in many ways been priced out of many of those nice things. But I've always admired brands that do things very well, Loro Piana and Audemars Piguet included. And before ever working with either brand, I always communicated how the real life Gstaad Guy is obsessed with these sorts of things, and with particularly a brand like Loro Piana. And it was this very organic storytelling, which always felt true to my audience. And I only play 2 characters, Constance and Colton, right? You play 200 characters.
With your 2 characters are phenomenal.
Actually, you play 201 because you also play Matt Friend. And thank you so much. Thank you. So I think in my scenario, now, of course, in the real world, I also wear my beautiful watch and this beautiful outfit. And I'm very grateful to be wearing them. But it started with my characters wearing those things, and those things being very true to my character. And I think people in many ways draw inspiration from the things Constance, the Gstaad Guy, finds value in.
Interesting.
He doesn't like many things and he dislikes many things. So when he says he likes something, it carries a lot of weight. The real life connoisseur that you have performed for. So that's my answer.
Okay, great answer.
I
love it.
You said earlier in the podcast that you draw a lot of inspiration from this kind of dying art of comedy. This part of comedy that's now changed a little bit, but that you love from the past. What do you think has changed, and what are you trying to save and hold on to?
I think, it's a couple. That's a really great question. Couple elements. Number one, when I'm on stage, it's not 100% clean. There's sexual, there's some swearing, but there is a class that I try to have on stage and off. An elevated, kind of like an elegance, whether I'm on a red carpet or on stage or doing a TV interview or doing your podcast. And I think it's in the way you dress. It's the way you kind of come across. That's what Johnny Carson personified to me. Johnny Carson? He was the biggest star in really in the country, but one of the biggest in the world. It was a time where the Tonight Show, it was the show in the country. Anybody who wanted to be anybody had to be on this show. And he was wearing these glamorous suits, and just the way he came across and the way he interviewed people, and he was very thoughtful in the way he reacted in all of his interactions on camera. And that's sort of an element that I'm trying to bring back, that. Obviously the impressions are kind of an older seeming art form, but also just the vibe, I guess. I'm not really trying to think it through too much. It's just kind of the way I carry myself. And then in comedically, I think just it's this partisanship where I don't want to be a liberal or conservative comedian. I want to be a comedian that everybody can come see my show.
Yeah.
And just kind of forget about for the hour
Mm-hmm.
and like just realize how up everything is and let's just have a good time. I'm not trying to sway people or make some sort of a like take some sort of a stand necessarily at this point in my career. I mean, there are some opinions that I raise in the show, but I think the point is I want everybody to come and have a good time, a great time.
That's great. I love that.
And that's an old element of comedy that has since gone away in our society today, where nobody can even talk to each other anymore.
And what's the transition like for you from these short form skits to 1 hour on stage? That's a huge difference to me. Just going from 30 seconds to a minute in my videos is playing with two very different beasts.
Yeah, no, it's a crazy, it's not even a comparison. You know, there are some things that I've done on stage that I post on TikTok or Instagram or social media that are like a 30-second clip, but a lot of these are longer stories or points, and it's just a completely different thing.
Yeah.
You know, to make a video with you or whatever, it even right now, like we'll have some clip that'll do really well that we'll post. That's like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
But I mean, to physically go and to tour and to travel and get on stage, it's like that man in the arena quote. Isn't that Churchill? Do you know this quote?
No.
Stand-up is different from these short form clips. So it's you out there kind of versus the audience.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like a battle. You know, I have to make all of these people laugh, and there's an energy that you bring, right? When you get on stage, there's an energy that you bring. I have to set the tone. You know, and that I love physical, energetic people and performers. And you know, there is a style of comedy. You sit on a chair and you're a little more calm. But I love people that use the stage and that, like, I really feel like I saw something.
Yeah. Some of my best performing content is in the category of dating and relationships. And people often talk about how much they love a funny guy or a funny person that they're dating. How has that helped you with your dating life, being a comedian?
I would say that, again, it's like what you just said about business. I mean, I think it's probably an additional edge. I think I think it certainly helps with breaking the ice and confidence, and especially performing. Like, I'm up in front of a lot of people all the time. It's, I feel confident in that respect. How about yourself?
I actually am. I really appreciate that you box us in a similar category when it comes to being comedians, but I really don't.
I don't think I did that.
Okay, fine. Fine. Well, no, you're good.
I think you're.
I don't think I'm a comedian, but I appreciate that.
You're a.
I think I'm just
in some ways a comedian. I mean, a storyteller, a sketch. You know, you could argue you're a sketch comedian.
Yeah, I think the way I describe myself is actually like it's kind of like luxury journalism. And I use comedy as just a tone of voice to make it more digestible.
This sounds like a major at the school I went to at NYU, Gallatin.
Yeah.
People would like make up majors. What did you major in? I studied luxury journalism.
This is a made up major.
And the effect of the Gstaad Guy on interpersonal relationships in Gstaad.
100%.
Sorry, go ahead.
My made up major is that. It's luxury journalism.
That's very, very cool. I love that you have taken the time to think through this.
I've taken some time to think through this. I have. I just don't think that people come to my content to laugh. I think they happen to chuckle occasionally.
Right.
And chuckle is the key word. I don't think anyone laughs out loud watching Gstaad Guy videos. By design or as a circumstance, I'm not sure. But
I hope they do at mine.
They definitely do. Because you are a comedian, and the product, your intention, as you've shared, is to make people laugh. My intention is actually to get a message across.
That's very interesting. Very, very cool. But how has that affected your dating? You see, you didn't think I would let that skirt.
No, I think it's very similar in my dating life. Yeah. I'm not like cracking jokes. Right. I want to occasionally try to get a chuckle,
right,
or smile. But,
but I can tell you have a very calming, kind of a seductive. I happen to be a heterosexual. Sadly, I don't swing that way. But if I did swing that way, I mean, you really do. I mean. You have a calming. You got an aura.
Thank
man.
you. I appreciate that. It's very kind.
I'm gonna just say this now. Gstaad Guy. Gstaad Guy. And if you don't keep this in the podcast, I will remember it. You're keeping it in. You're keeping it in. You're keeping it in.
Okay,
You have to.
I
Because-
love when you randomly just throw in the impression of
The Trump. Well, it's Trump Tourette's. It's a problem. I do it to say things I can't say as myself.
I was on a plane last week with a fat pig of a woman. She was a slob. And I said, "You're a nasty woman. Change your seat, please. I can't sit next to this fat pig."
But I didn't say it. It was Trump. You see, that's the thing. He's the vessel to say the worst things in the world. Now, anyways, back to your dating. I can tell you clean up because you have you're just like, you're 6'8". Let's just go with 6'9". I mean,
I'm actually not even 6'8", but I appreciate
okay, you're 7'2", and I mean, you're just like, it's almost like this. You look fantastic.
It's very kind of you. I think that's you, though, but I appreciate that.
Look at you.
It's very kind of you. On the Gstaad Guy podcast, we always play a game of à la poubelle versus Fantastique.
Mm.
À la poubelle in French, to the trash. Fantastique, things we celebrate
Beautiful.
that are great. Could you please share with us a few things that you believe to be à la poubelle that you'd like to change about your industry, society, the internet, anything?
You know what is so à la poubelle? What's so à la poubelle has got to be Android. Throw out your Android into the trash can. But Steve would say the most fantastic thing in the world has got to be liquid glass. I love liquid. Face ID is so fantastic. You know what's so à la poubelle? The butterfly keyboard. That's why we got rid of the butterfly keyboard. It's $999. Thank you so much. Good morning, Cupertino. That is so fantastic. This is Johnny Ive.
I love your random good morning when you keep throwing them in.
Okay, now myself. À la poubelle would be Tilly Norwood, the AI actress. Throw it in the trash.
Okay.
Now, not entirely, because I do think that it's a complicated issue, and like, I do think that AI will be a very useful tool for our comedy and work and everything. But I don't like the idea of just like an AI actress. That kind of isn't great. Let's get rid of that. A Fantastique would be in my industry. I think social media. I know this is like Instagram, TikTok, Snap. The idea that anybody can create their presence and build their fan base and make a business out of it. And these gatekeepers are being fundamentally, almost entirely removed is a really amazing thing. And it's democratizing the whole business. And I don't know, I would be here without it. So that is Fantastique, I would say. Also Fantastique, Loro Piana, because we are with the Gstaad Guy, and we must make sure that all of the Italians are very happy with our clothing options. À la poubelle would be thrift shopping.
No, thrift is fine.
No.
I think fast fashion.
Only for Loro Xenia, no thrift. No, I'm kidding. À la poubelle would be, Dasani water.
Okay.
Yeah, you know Dasani water? It tastes a little like Coke to me.
I think it's produced by PepsiCo.
Yeah, I'm not really into that.
No.
I'm more of a Fiji kind of a guy.
Have you been to Switzerland?
I don't know. I would love to go.
You haven't?
No.
I thought you said I don't
go.
We should. The tap water in Switzerland,
Amazing.
it's as good as it comes.
No, I love you. I think you're fantastic, and I'm very happy for you and your show, and keep building, and I hope we do some stuff together down the line.
Thanks so. I hope so too. And I really appreciate you taking the time to be here, sharing all these deep insights, but also all these good laughs. I haven't had this many laughs on a Monday morning, I think, ever in my life.
Really?
I think so.
That's incredible. Well, thank you for having me. It really was really cool. And by the way, I'm going to plug myself because I have to. Come see a show, please. mattfriend.com for tickets, and follow my Instagram at @themattfriend. But again, I can't thank you enough for having me. I'm so honored and happy to know you. And I think what you're doing
I feel the same way.
is so cool. And there are so many people that are trying to make, but you really resonate with me, just not only in the way you carry yourself conversationally, but also your content is super funny. But I think it's just who you are as a person from what I know.
Thank you.
You seem amazing, and just thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Gstaad Guy podcast. If you're keen to learn more, please follow along by engaging with our social channels on Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. and we look forward to seeing you next week. Merci beaucoup, à la prochaine, and a big hug from the Gstaad Guy.